through them, and then if you guys want, then what we can do is go into the discussion side of things and talk about it, how it impacts us. I think always good guideline would be, and you guys, feel free to add your feedback on this as well. But, how does that takeaway help me in my professional life? Number one, my family life. Number two, my spiritual life, right? So we have these various areas that we're made up of, and that in turn makes us up into a whole, right? And so I'll discuss these habits. I'll also talk about what it means to me and provide some examples. And then we can, I think, have an open discussion on, how has it impacted you, or how have you seen it at play in your life? And, if you were one way and then you kick this habit into gear, how did that change your life, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to start with chapter number 1, where he talks about being proactive as opposed to being reactive, right? And so, we know a lot of people probably in our own families or a circle of friends where when life circumstances happen to people, right, they get into the complaining mode that this happened because so-and-so. Very rarely do they ever look at the mirror and say that I am where I am at this point in life because of the actions that I've done, right? And any business coach, any high productivity efficiency coach will tell you that at the end of the day, if you take a summation of your life and all the actions that you have done leading up to this very minute right now, that is why you are where you are. And so we see a lot of people, when things happen, whether it's in their control or not, they tend to point the finger at other people that, oh, the stock market is down, so I lost all this money. And so they pointed at that. Well, no, ultimately it was your decision to go into the stock market or not to sell the stock when it was up and you wanted to ride it out a little bit more. So they'll look at all sorts of external factors to blame as opposed to bringing the blame inwards to themselves. And so because our brain is wired to take the path of least resistance, what a lot of people start doing is blaming. Now, another way to look at it is to say that, look, whatever was going to happen is going to happen anyway. And ultimately, I am the captain of my ship and I'm the captain of my destiny, right? And there are things that will happen in life that I can control, and there are things in my life that I cannot control. And we have to embrace the fact that there are things that we cannot control. And so instead of doing the blame game, what you can do instead is embrace it, own it for what it is, whatever that reality is, and then be proactive about changing things around. So for example, if you have a business and you have a product, instead of complaining, saying that, look, my sales are down and people don't care for a good product anymore. No, the question you should be asking, which is a more proactive way to think about it, is what can I do to make this product so irresistible that people can't live without it, right? And then imagine asking a question like that and what that would trigger your brain to do, to start looking at pathways to solve that issue, as opposed to just being down on yourself and saying that my sales are down. No, now your mind starts to open up and say, look, I've got a challenge in front of me, right? And I'm going to hit this head on, and I'm going to take a proactive stance to generate sales and generate revenue. So chapter number 1 is about being proactive with your situation, regardless of the situation, as opposed to being reactive. And one of the main things that I got from this was that, our dean also teaches us that, one of our 6 elements of faith is qadr, meaning that whatever was going to happen to you was going to happen anyway, right? It was already written for you when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrote out every single thing that will happen on this planet, including the leaves that fall from the trees and how many times they will turn in the air before they hit the ground. You imagine, to that detail, the entire story of the planet has been written already in the tablets, right? And so my life has already been written. Now the only thing is Allah has also told me in his book that I will never be given something that I cannot bear. So my problems will never be bigger than something that I cannot hold that burden of, right? So knowing these things gives me a lot of comfort and solace that whatever was going to come to me is going to come to me. Complaining about it is not going to make my situation better. I should take a proactive stance to make things better, to basically impose my will to make my situation better. So this is chapter 1, being proactive, not reactive. So
it was really beautiful. You summarized it well, and on also as you explained, I kind of remember what I read from Steven Covey about the proactive versus reactive, but tying up with the Qadr, that was really good actually. That gives some more perspective to that. Thank you for that.
Thing about in life is like we know, it's all written by our Qadr, right? At the same time, also, our Creator, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala told us, you need to work, you need to put an effort. Its result is up to Him. But we cannot sit there and wait and start complaining and blaming for everything, right?
absolutely.
That's exactly the reason. Is how we can at least how we can utilize our internal faith that, hey, good thing going to happen, and let me take the responsibility of what I can do, instead of blaming somebody, like what you mentioned. Okay, stock market, I want the stock market. It's my decision, to go stock market. If the stock did going down or not, that tells me, what can I do? So next time when I jump on that wagon on stock market, maybe I should have done more research. Maybe I should have know more about this company, rather than, oh, my friend told me so, it's his fault and not my fault, right? It's
Agreed.
my action is the one I am in charge of. I love that thing what you just said. I'm the captain of my own ship. As long as we are all realize that, then proactive is great, Yep, I agree with you.